Right, so I'm kind of reflecting back on the video I just posted and about how we're all pumped all of this fucking imagery and messaging from mainstream media to big tech media to alt tech media and new tech media. All of this media. Okay? And as I said, there's a bunch of controlled opposition with it. It's all this media opposition is all controlled. You're telling me you don't see the media opposition going on, happening? Yeah, you do. And you understand what controlled opposition is because you're one of these people that's claiming that Trump is controlled opposition, Trump and Kamala and Netanyahu, and it's all controlled opposition. But then you use all these media. Do you ever look at this media? You don't think that the media is controlled, but you'll proudly proclaim how you're awake to the idea that Trump is controlled opposition and Kamala and Trump are controlled opposition and they're all in the pockets and it's all puppeteered by Netanyahu and it's all controlled opposition. Yeah, but so you're totally awake to that. You're so awake that you can't even see the media control. The controlled opposition of media, of all this media. Oh, I know that the media is controlled. Yeah, okay. But then you participate in it, just like the voter participates in voting in the controlled election. You know, oh, YouTube isn't as, BitChute is better than YouTube. Odyssey's better than Rumble. Rumble's better than mainstream media. Mainstream media is the worst. BitChute is the best. All of it, you participate in all this. You upvote, upvotes, downvotes, upvote, upvote. It's all the same. Anyways, I've already digressed. So I was reflecting on my last video and what I was talking about. And I came to I had a revelation. So we'll go back. All this media, mainstream, big tech, new tech, alt tech media, it's all pumping us with messages and imagery constantly, right? Unless we choose not to use it. But even when you choose not to use it, a lot of times it's forced on you. Like when you go to the store, they're playing P. Diddy, they're blaring P. Diddy really loud at the store or at the gas station or wherever, So it's becomes challenging to escape, doesn't it, media? You're driving in your car and you innocently just decide to turn on the radio or put on some music. Well, that's all media too. But that's not fake and staged and controlled opposition. But boy, Trump versus Kamala, that whole thing was staged. All you stupid people. But mainstream media versus alt tech is staged. So that would be that saying that everybody that engages in the media is as stupid as everyone who engages in the voting system. See, come on now. Are you keeping up? Can you keep up with what I'm laying down here? Or are you just totally what's this guy even talking about, man? He sounds like a tinfoil hat guy, huh? Yeah, right. Yeah, so you're not even getting what I'm laying down. Yeah, okay. How convenient for you. Anyhow, here I am participating in the media that's all controlled opposition, it's all fake, right? And we're pumped these messages in all media, mainstream, big tech, new tech, and alt tech, constantly messages and images and and all this, and every last bit of it is pure propaganda, is pure bullshit. It's all just one big steaming pile of fucking nasty fucking horse shit, right? Well, therein lies the work. You gotta sift through all that shit, hoping to find some gem, right? Some nugget of truth in all that shit, right? So here's the deal. And so when you observe all this shit, it's like they're talking about Netanyahu. Let's say they're talking about Netanyahu. Well, Netanyahu, right? Imagine the life of Netanyahu. Imagine it. Try to imagine the life of Netanyahu. Well, Netanyahu is operating on an entirely different level of reality than you are. I can guarantee you this 100%. Netanyahu is operating on an entirely different level of reality. Okay? So you got the Netanyahu story, right? Okay, oh well, whatever, yeah, so what? Okay. What other stories? I could pull up BitChute or one of these and scroll through them. They're all the same. Trump. Well, whatever your thoughts are on Netanyahu, whatever your thoughts are on Trump, take a moment and imagine the life of Trump or Netanyahu. These people operate on an entirely different level than you. Like it's a completely unfamiliar, unknown reality that they exist in that you've never even experienced. The amount of wealth that they exist in, you couldn't even imagine it. You couldn't even imagine the wealth of Netanyahu. I mean, these people they exist in an entirely different reality than you, okay? Okay, so what else? Well, we can just go through story after story after story. What else? Oh, the orbs. Well, how? Try to imagine if in the life of an interdimensional being. I mean, they exist in an entirely different plane of existence than you. You don't understand the life of someone like Netanyahu, and you never will. You don't understand the life of someone like Trump, and you never will. You don't understand the life of an interdimensional being. You don't even understand these things. All you can do is attempt to imagine, right? Right? Hollywood, the entirety of Hollywood. Imagine being a Holly weirdo, fucking famous. You can't even imagine what it would be like to be a famous Holly weirdo. Rich and famous. The lifestyles of the rich and famous. So all these stories so far that I've gone over, these are all stories of people and groups of people that you can't even imagine the reality that they exist in. Like they're operating in an entirely different universe than you, that you've never even exited the atmosphere of your where you live, and these people are like in an entirely different universe than you. So you don't know anything about these people and these groups of people that these stories are being pumped out about. Then look at okay, you got stories about something that's happening on the other side of the planet. Tens of thousands of miles away from you. You've never even been there. You don't know anything about that place, those people. You don't know anything about it at all. Another story is a completely different reality than the one that you exist in. And I can bet that I am able to imagine the reality that you exist in. It's just mundane. You go to work 5 days a week. You use the money to pay your bills. You maybe you're a little bit responsible and a little bit irresponsible with your money. Maybe you try to escape all this at times, but you just live this mundane life. You're not living the life of like a Netanyahu or a Trump or some baby in Palestine whose body parts are flying all over. You're not experiencing any of this, but yet these are the stories that are constantly being pumped and put in front of your face. Like, this is what's happening in the world around you. But yet, what's happening with you? Nothing. Just totally mundane, You have this boring ass life, like what's his name, Mr. Smith in The Matrix. You're just some computer programmer. You go to your lame ass fucking job. You live your boring ass fucking life, and then you spend your time trying to understand, like, trying to process and make sense of all this stuff that, like, who are these people? Netanyahu, Trump, these babies whose body parts are flying all over the place in Israel, or whatever. Like, do you relate with any of this? No, all these are all stories of people whose body parts are flying everywhere, or they live in some ivory tower. They're like nearly billionaires and trillionaires, and you're not. That's never been your life experience at all. Yet these are the stories that are constantly being pumped in front of your face, whether you're on mainstream media, big tech media like YouTube, alt and new tech media like BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey. None of these stories are at all relevant to the reality that you exist in. Don't you find that a little strange? Or don't you find that something worth, like, acknowledging? Like, yeah, isn't that curious? But see, it's never about you or anyone like you, really, is it? Is it ever just about some mundane person? No, it's always Trump, Netanyahu, Kamala, some internet influencer, some movie star, right? When is it ever about just, like, you? Never. But then let's go a little deeper. Well, let's peel the layers of the onion even more. Well, these people, some of these politicians like Trump and Kamala and stuff, they'll talk about the working class and the middle class. Huh. So is that you? Don't they talk about, politicians love to, that's how they try to, hypnotize the masses, is by talking about how much they care about the working and middle class and how much they're going to do all this great stuff for the working and middle class. But so that must be you. So now they're talking about you. But it's like a really broad stroke, and they're casting a wide net. We're free ice cream for all the middle and working class. If you vote for Bernie Sanders, all the working and middle class get free ice cream. There's a story that has to do with you, right? But here, the question is, does it? Does that story relate to you? Because they're telling you it does. You know the Pink Floyd song, Us, 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 and them, 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 them. And after all, we're only ordinary men, right? Us and them, right? Yeah? You really buying into this us versus them? You don't think that the us versus them is more controlled opposition? How many times have you seen a video, or even on mainstream media, where it's like, they have done this to us. Look at what they've done to us. Well, there it is, controlled opposition, us versus them. You don't think that's us, that us versus them is controlled opposition, but you think Trump versus Kamala is. Wow, man, like, that's pretty out there. Explain that to me. How one is controlled opposition and the other isn't. How the right versus the left is controlled opposition, but mainstream media versus alt tech media, that's not controlled opposition. Really, explain that to me. I would really like to hear more about this. Huh. Oh no, I know that mainstream media and alt tech is controlled opposition, but yet you participate in the media stuff. Even though you know it's fake, you still participate in it. How's that any different than someone voting Like, what if somebody knew that the left and the right are controlled opposition and they voted anyways? How would that be any different than you, right, who are participating in the media that you claim is all fake, ketchup gate, controlled opposition, but somehow you're special, you're so special you're participating in it. But those voters, none of them are special. Those are all just right. But anyways, yeah. So all of these stories that are everywhere about everything that's going on, chemtrails, whatever, you name it. How much of it has to do with you, except for look at what they are doing to us, supposedly includes you. But does it? Does the story, does the breaking story look at what they have done to us? Are they genuinely including you, or are they just, maybe that's just some bullshit to get you to click, like, clickbait? Look at what they are doing to us. Aren't you lonely? Don't you want to be part of us? If you want to be part of us, just look at what they are doing to us. But then who is us? Well, I see a lot of talk about the middle class. Middle class. Are you middle class? What is middle class? Do you know what middle class is? Maybe you're being fooled into thinking you're middle class when really you're just like at poverty level. You're just barely above water. Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm barely above water. And you're middle class? So they've brainwashed you to believe that middle class is just having your head above water is middle class? Huh. I wonder who would benefit from getting an entire population of people to believe that middle class means that your head is just above water. You're just barely making it. That's middle class. Who would benefit from brainwashing and convincing a large number of people that that's what middle class means? Just barely getting by is middle class. Who would benefit from convincing masses of people of that? Netanyahu, Trump, Jeff Bezos, the Rothschilds, would they benefit from convincing the masses that the term middle class means is that you're just struggling just to put food on the table? That's what middle class is. And that they're going to do all this stuff because the middle class, and we got to, they're so important. And so no, but you're not middle class, you're working class. But then again, are you? What is what is working class? What is that? What does that mean? It means that I have a job and I work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. Work. Have you ever looked up the dictionary definition of the word work? Have you ever questioned any of this? Like, what does work mean? What does working class mean? Or is that just another category that they want to put you in to create this illusion that you're included in something? There's some inclusion that involves you, like us versus them. Look at what they are doing to us. Are you included in that equation of look at what they're doing to us? Or do you just believe that you're included in that equation when really the person presenting the equation doesn't give a fuck about you at all, dude? Like, if they could, they'd steal your wife and any and everything of value that you own. If they could, they would. And help you look for it. And be like, man, they did that to you. I want to help you. How dare they do that? Look at what they are doing to us. Wow. And yeah, so work, work, what does that mean? What does it mean to work? Let's say I have a so-called job, and my job is to produce bots for the social media platforms. That's my job. And so I'm just like spreading the disease of bots all over your favorite social media platform, your free speech platform. My job is to completely just destroy it. Like, subvert the entire free speech platform. I'm getting paid. Is that work? Well, yeah, that's a job, yeah. Is it? So I would be considered part of the working class then. My job is to develop mass amounts of artificial intelligence bots to go in and like infiltrate and subvert any and all free speech online. That's my job. So I'm working class. Yeah. So I'm working class. That's my job. That means I'm working class. And now look at what they are doing to us. Well, who is they and who is us? My job is to create like mass amounts of AI bot intelligence to infiltrate and subvert any and all free speech. So are they doing something to me, or am I the enemy? Am I the one that's actually the problem? So that's work? I mean, that's just one example of jobs. I just pulled that one out of thin air. Like, I didn't plan that or nothing. I mean, there's tons of jobs like that. There's tons and tons and tons of jobs. Like, that's basically like 90% of all employment in the entire country of the United States of America is jobs of that nature. To do things like create, program, and install, AI bot viruses across the internet to subvert and disrupt free speech. And so I'm getting paid by, who knows, China, or who cares, because it's my job. I don't care. I'm just, as long as I get my paycheck, right? And that's working class, right? So, well, and there again, do you relate with the person whose job it would be to create artificial intelligence bots on a mass scale to infiltrate, subvert, and disrupt any and all free speech on the internet? Would you relate with somebody whose job that was? Would you be friends with somebody whose job, and they were like open with you, and they're like, yeah, that's my job? Would you actually be friends with that person and associate with them and like go to coffee with them and go on a double date, you and your girlfriend or wife go on a double date with him and his wife, and go on a vacation to the Grand Canyon together? Like, is that someone who you would associate? No, but he's working class. That's working class. I thought working class are the good guys. Us versus them. Look at what they are doing to us. Look at who is doing to who. Wait, what? Wait, what? Who? These are all the messages that are being pumped nonstop 24/7 on every media platform. Not just mainstream media, it's everywhere. It's on big tech media, new tech media, alt tech media, mainstream media. All these superstars are being placed in front of you non-stop, 24/7 superstars on mainstream media, on big tech media, on new tech media, on alt tech media, all these superstars. What do you have in common with an internet influencer channel on BitChute, Odyssey, or Rumble? Well, that's what they want you to think, that you guys have a lot in common, but do you really? Because so you might be in a situation where you're kind of busting your ass and just, barely keeping your head above water, right? Because that's what middle class is, to just barely keep your head above water. And you think that these internet stars, that like these internet people that are always in your face, that they're experiencing the same thing as you? You really think that? And that what? So they're just kind of hiding it, or they just don't really talk about it because they're very strong. They're strong internet influencers, so they don't go into sharing their personal experience of struggling just to put food on the table. They don't talk about that, or maybe they do. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen some that do, and then you'll see they got a GoFundMe that they put up a week ago, and it's already got $50,000. Like, do you relate with any of these people or any of these stories that are being pumped out? You know, I would argue not at all. Like, you're not living the life of an internet influencer where you're making six figures a year running a channel, a truther channel. You're not. That's not you. You're not like you weren't born into a millionaire status like Trump or any of these people like Trump. No, on either and all sides of the political spectrum. You don't relate with any of. What about movie? You don't relate with any movie stars or internet stars. You don't relate with the baby whose body parts are flying all over the place in Palestine. Like, does any of this shit at all relate with you? Because again, if I could probably guess, if you're the viewer and you made it this far, you're just living this mundane life. Your body parts aren't flying all over the place in Palestine. You're just working this menial job, doing menial, excruciatingly boring tasks that undermine your intelligence, your talents, abilities. It's just this menial, brainless job that undermines and insults your very intelligence and your abilities and talents. And you work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You pay your bills. It's this massively menial and mundane life that every once in a while you enjoy, but most of the time you're like Neo from the movie The Matrix, where you're this computer programmer type person who just lives this extremely mundane, extremely menial life of menial tasks, boring menial tasks, and that's it. That's your whole life. So how does that relate to like an internet influence, somebody who makes six figures a year running a truther channel? You don't have anything in common with that person. But yet that's the person that's putting out the videos that are saying, look at what they are doing to us. Who is doing to who? What does that even mean? And if you pay attention, you'll see that is like at least 30 to 40% of every implied video title in popular and trending. It implies that same thing. Look at what they are doing to us. Like, it's pure propaganda, far beyond that of what the communist Soviet Union could ever achieve back in the 50s or 40s or whatever. Like way beyond the communist propaganda of the USSR Soviet Union era, way beyond. But yet you live in this so-called free society, right? It's all freedom. No, your head is just above water. Well, is it just above water, or is it free, or is it both, or is it neither? Or is it, are you living in is your life one big dashing, bold adventure like the lifestyles of the rich and famous? No? So how is any of this so-called information relevant to you or me? All this so-called relevant information that's being pumped 24/7 on BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, YouTube, and mainstream media. How is any of it relevant to you or me? It's not. That's the whole point. It's not. And that is part of the whole point, is to make you feel like Just a little bit smaller. Keep coming back, smaller and smaller and smaller. Squash me, smaller and smaller and smaller. Under the charity, smaller and smaller and smaller. Under the topsoil, smaller and smaller and smaller. Under the fingernail, smaller and smaller and smaller. Till small becomes all. Till just living, barely making ends meet becomes middle class. Till small becomes all. Till just barely struggling just to get by. That's what middle class is. Small becomes all. Until small becomes all. Becomes all. Huh. Where do I end? How do I even end this video? Where do I stop? Well, because this never stops. And it's, oh my god, it's so insane. Anyways, so that's it. Just some thoughts, that if you like, you can entertain and ponder for yourselves.